So we're into week number 2, and I really hope that you have had some chance to practice flow number 1 and start to understand the fundamentals of the Ashtanga vinyasa practice a little bit more closely. It's really important to understand nailing the basics of the downward facing dog, the upward facing dog, and slowly but surely building strength in your chaturanga, dandasana, is going to really help you feel successful with the rest of the 12 weeks with me. And it's true to say that practice makes perfect. So we're actually going to go back to those 2 parts, part A and part B, and that will lead us into the sequence that we're going to perform this week. And that is a warrior leg strength flow. So come to comfortable sitting position and bring the soles of your feet together just to open your hips. This posture is known as Baddha Konasana. Knees go down, chest lifts up, and we aim to elongate through the crown of the head. So from here, we're just going to sit for a moment. And again, once more, bring yourself into your space where you have a chance to perhaps close your eyes and connect to your Ujjayi breath. That's the heating breath through the body. It takes time to really practice this breath. Something that we often do when we get tired in the postures is start to breathe in and out through the mouth. And it's realizing that the open mouth breath, it loses all this prana, this energy that we want to keep in our body. We want to create these locks and these seals through the mouth and also through the bandhas, which is the pelvic floor, the abdominal, and also the throat lock, because that keeps all this fantastic energy in and it allows us to use it constructively as we practice. And if we open the mouth, we start to leak the energy out, and it also means that we don't really survive for too long on the mat. So come to seated, take 5 rounds of just your breath, breathing in and out through your nose. Remembering to keep the breath relatively free, and that's going to be important at points in the practice when the legs start to feel very challenged. All right, you're working towards the top of your mat. We're going to run through part A and part B together again. But in week number 2, just going to take 3 rounds of part number A and 2 rounds of part number B before we hit our flow. So to refresh your memory, I'm going to now perform 1 round of part A with you and 1 round of part B. After you've watched me or even performed it with me, pause the video and then perform 3 rounds of part A yourself and 2 rounds of part B, and then rejoin me when we hit the flow. So part A, Samastahiti, equal standing, toes together, heels slightly apart. Inhale to lift your arms and look up for Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to floor for Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, place the hands. You place them and you either step or you float back. Inhale, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. And we know that we take 5 rounds of the Ujjayi breath here in part number A. So inhaling 1, exhaling 1, inhaling 2, exhaling 2. Keep the breath steady, long and smooth, and relatively free. 5th outward breath, you're looking to your hands, bend your knees and step or jump. Feet touching, lengthen half. Exhale to fold. Inhaling to stand, arms, eyes, chest lift. Exhale. To part number B, sweep the fingertips towards the mat, sit your hips low. Utkatasana, palms together, look to thumbs for drishti, eye gaze point. Tuck the tailbone underneath you to engage lower abdominals. Fold forwards, ribcage to thighs. Lengthen half. Place the palms, step or float back. And you know that always the chaturanga dandasana are the knees, the chest and the chin. Alternative for you, either cobra or full upward facing dog where you lift the thighs and bring your heart forwards. Downward facing dog. Turning the left heel and stepping the right foot between the hands. Inhaling for warrior 1. Hips square to short edge of mat. Rotate back hip, squeeze glute, and look to palms. Hands frame the foot, remembering to try to not scrape the mat as you step back. Knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing dog. Turn right heel, step left leg forwards. Inhale, look up, eyes up. Square hip, short edge. Press down into outside blade of right foot. Hands frame the foot. Step back, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing, downward facing dog. 5 counts of breath here. So always ask yourself, what am I doing in the posture? Where do I need to be with my hands? Spread them as wide as they can go on the floor. Energize through the arms. Draw shoulders away from ears. Tuck chin to chest, look back to navel. Draw kneecaps up. Draw thigh bones up, legs are active. Press heels back and down to stretch the calves. Draw the belly in, the bandhas are engaged. Look forwards on your 5th outward breath. You step or you jump between your hands, lengthen half. Exhale, fold. Bending your knees to Utkatasana. Exhaling to stand, hands to heart center. So 5 rounds complete. And you've just come out of your Utkatasana for your 5th round. And we stand to equal standing. We're going to begin our warrior flow, working our way to the floor for a vinyasa. So inhale to lift your arms, eyes, chest, hands to the floor, forward fold, lengthen half, and start by stepping back right leg and left leg, but finding your way to your downward facing dog position. As we inhale, we lift our left leg up to 3-legged dog in the air. Aim to square the shoulders to the floor. Look forwards and swing the left foot and place the heel between the hands in this position. Inhaling, we stand to crescent lunge. So arms, eyes, and chest lifts, and we square our hips to the short edge of the mat. Tuck your tailbone underneath you in this position. It's a great opportunity to really stretch the psoas muscle, the deepest muscle we have in our body and our hip flexor. From here, breathe in, breathe out, and really engage your front thigh to find strength and depth. Taking 5 breaths in each standing posture. Drop shoulders away from ears. And drive your front heel into the ground. 5th outward breath. The right heel rotates. And we're coming to the long edge of the mat now. You're in warrior 2, Virabhadrasana B. So press the right knee back toward your baby toe. And the right heel can almost curl off in order to press and energize down through the outside blade of the foot. Draw strength up through the inner thigh, so this leg is locked and anchored. Turn chest to the front and extend your arms long. Tuck the tailbone underneath you here. We want to do that so that we can feel an incredible stretch across the front of the hips. Your drishti point, middle finger on your left hand. Extend the arms long and straight. They also need to feel strong to support the legs. From this position here, we move to extended side angle. So slide the ribcage forwards and either bring your elbow to your knee and your right bicep by your ear, or if it's accessible to you, place the palm down in between the foot and the hand, pressing the knee into the shoulder. Roll your shoulder back in this position. We're looking up, we're going up with the energy. If the bind is accessible to you, the left arm reaches under and you either interlace the fingers or you grab the wrist. Roll your shoulders back here. So you're going up, you're looking up, you keep engaging your right leg in this position, and we're breathing 5 breaths. Anytime you need to bring elbow to knee and take a modified side angle to build your strength, this is absolutely fine. From here, warrior 2. Turn your palms up, inhale, exhale to sun warrior. Your left shoulder goes back and we C-shape our spine. So it's a two-way energy. You're going back and you're freeing the left rib cage, but you're grounding down through your left knee. Push the knee forwards. Inhale, 2 more breaths. Exhaling. Last time, inhale. Exhale. We're turning our hips square, coming to warrior 1. Back heel is down on the floor and palms are together overhead. Remember, any shoulder loading injuries, bring your hands to your chest. Now the back foot is almost positioned to 45 degrees as much as we can. And we now pivot our hips square to the short edge of the mat. Perhaps taking your feet slightly wider and not being so much on train tracks will enable you to rotate your back hip further. Inhale, exhale, 5 breaths in this position here. Looking up, thumbs just in front of the eye gaze so that we don't crunch the back of the neck. Transitioning to warrior 3. So maybe move back slightly on your mat, shift your weight forwards, your arms are going forwards and you're finding your balance. Flex your right foot or point your toes, but keep this leg energized. You're going forward, so rather than going down, think lengthen. Rather than going down, think lengthen. Lock the standing leg, and then think about squeezing your right butt cheek. Balance is often dictated by the leg off the floor and how much tension it has rather than the foot on the ground. So inhale and exhale here. Step back to lunge position. Drop the knee close to the floor. We're looking almost for 90 degrees at the arms. Taking 5 breaths. Inhale 1, exhale 1. Lots of strength in the legs now. Inhale 2, exhale 2. Inhale 3, exhale 3. 4, and then 1 more breath and you're working your way down to the ground for rest. So bend the knees lots, lower the knees safely. Unravel the toes at the back and sink your hips down. You're in dragon pose. It's a chance to open the hips in this position here. Keep the knee, this back knee, close to your shoulder. You want to pin it in place. We want to elongate our spine. So keeping the length in this position with the rib cage forward is most important. Slowly but surely, you'll work your way down, perhaps towards the floor with the forearms, but being aware that we don't want to round too much through the mid-spine in order to find this deeper posture. If you find that you're really rounding to reach the floor, just bring yourself back onto your hands, and patience is definitely a virtue with yoga. So inhale 5 breaths here, exhale 5 breaths. Great chance to open the hips now after they're really warm from leg strength. 1 more breath. And then move the left hand outside the left foot, and we're tucking our toes for downward facing dog. The left leg goes back to 3-legged dog, and we take 5 rounds of abdominal strengthening in between. Bring knee towards nose and focus on scooping belly up as you come into crunch. Press the ground away, foot goes right back. 2, second round, breathing in, crunch again, breathing out, pushing away. 3rd round, breathing in, real abdominal strength, breathing out. 4, inhale, exhale. Last round here, 5. And press back to 3-legged dog. Allow the foot to land on the floor. Knees can drop momentarily, and we can take rest to child's pose, forehead to ground. Maybe stretch your arms long. Allow your fingertips to soften. Sometimes even moving through the wrists or the hands helps me spend quite a lot of time with pressure on the palms. Take one more deep breath in, restorative. Push the hips back. Hands under your shoulders again for downward facing dog to repeat sequence. So press the heels away, lift the sit bones high, and the right leg lifts to three-legged dog. Swing it between your hands, place the foot down onto the floor, and we are inhaling for crescent lunge. So lift the chest up, tuck the left hip underneath you this time, and lengthen the arms. Roll the shoulders back in this position, and focus on pushing your front knee forwards, almost parallel to the floor. Lengthening or elongating the lower back is our real focus in crescent. So again, we can feel stretch in psoas and hip flexor. One more breath. We plant our back heel down, moving to warrior two. So now you're facing away from me, but repeating the sequence on the other side. Anytime that you perhaps need to turn to the front of the mat, that's completely fine. So we turn our back toes in, and we press our right knee out towards our baby toes, finding equal distribution and hips square to the long edge of the mat. Inhale here to slide rib cage forwards, and take elbow to knee and left arm by your ear. Extended side angle with palm on the ground is your second port of call. But keep engaging this inner thigh and tucking the pelvis underneath you to open the hips. If the bind is accessible to you on this side, the arm goes around and you can see a better angle of me reaching to interlace the fingers, or eventually for the full posture, you get the wrist. Roll your shoulders back, look up, roll back because you're going up. Eye gaze is looking to ceiling, and we have real strength in the legs here. This is often where you want to open your mouth and breathe out of it, but focus on using your breath to help you rather than hurt you. Inhale. Stand to warrior two. Turn the palms. Inhale again. Exhale, sun warrior. Right arm is going back. Now you're going back, you're C-shaping your spine, you're lengthening your rib cage, and you're driving your knee forwards and down. Now stay strong in the legs in this position. Incredible freedom for the side body. One more breath. And we're turning for warrior one. So back heel may need to just lift up and reset so you can get the foot to 45 degrees. Remember, slightly wider can often really help in warrior one. Square the hips once more to short edge of mat. Squeeze your left butt cheek to tuck the hip underneath you. 3 more breaths here. So get really used to a rhythm of counting for your 5 breaths. Some of our breath is faster than others, and that's completely fine. You may even be slightly behind me. Shifting your weight, moving the front foot, coming to warrior 3. So flex your left foot or point your toes and extend the left leg like it's steel, reaching forwards. You're going forwards. We're going forwards, we're reaching forwards. So look up rather than down, chest up, lengthening rather than dropping, long rather than down. One more breath here. Good, lower yourself slowly to the floor. Real grace and control, knees come down, unravel the back toes, and move both hands inside. So your right knee is close to your shoulder. Yeah. Keep it pinned in. Focus on sinking the back hip, but also stretching through the hamstrings on the front leg. Either the hands or the elbows, they work their way to the floor. You're coming down. But wherever you are, refocus now on the breath. Places we want to relax are face and jaw. So expression and jaw is soft. One more inhale. Exhale. Move the foot inside and both hands frame the foot. 5 rounds of abdominal strengthening for the right leg. Extend back, 3-legged dog. And then knee towards nose. Scoop up the belly. Crunch the body. Press away. Breathing out. Breathing in. Scoop, breathing out. Push the ground away. Inhale for round 3. Exhale. Inhale for round 4. Exhale. This is the kind of abdominal strength we eventually need for things like float back on the floor. 5. Well done. Feet lower. Knees lower. They go wide. Your sit bones go back. And you've recovered to child's pose, restorative. So press your chest towards the floor to open your back. Bring your forehead towards the ground. And we're taking one stretch, which is completely softening to finish. So downward facing dog. Looking forwards. Lift the left leg to 3-legged dog one more time. And then bring the left knee to the left wrist. You're coming down for pigeon. So a couple of options here. We can have back leg at 90 degrees. And depending on hip flexibility, the foot either can fold in completely, or slowly but surely over time, the foot is going to work its way away from the body. Lift up through the pelvis. Aim to roll this hip over and flatten your thigh and your 5 toes onto the floor. Take a deep breath in, so elongate, find your balance. And as you exhale, walk the hands forwards, bring the head down. And we're going to take 8 restorative breaths in pigeon. One of the best stretches for the hips and the lower back, particularly after the leg strength. Let the effort go. Two more breaths. Place the hands, tuck your right toes underneath you, press yourself back, downward facing dog, and the right leg lifts to 3-legged dog, right knee to right wrist. Modify as much as you need to with the back leg at 90 degrees. Modify by folding the heel in closer if the hips are tight, eventually working the shin away towards the short edge of the mat. Roll the back hip over and down, and then roll the body weight forwards. And it's going to be okay to have a gap between your sit bone and the floor. And the head comes down, the eye gaze comes down, and we're still with the Ujjayi breath. In and out through the nose. Push yourself up to sit. Bring your legs around towards the front. And we will finish just like we began with Baddha Konasana. So soles of feet together, chest up, shoulders back and down. A couple of restorative breaths, calming to finish practice today. So you're aiming to get this practice in as frequently as possible this week. If so, every day. If not, try for a minimum of 3 times. I will speak to you very soon.